Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach. The other night, I was able to watch Survivor Series 1998 on the WWE Network. This was an awesome show. I had lots of memories about watching this one. I can't remember how I watched it or where I saw this, but this was definitely a pay-per-view that really changed the game in the Attitude Era. This was one that if you didn't see this, I'm sure if you joined in to Monday Night Raw the next night, you were very lost on what went down. Even if you would have went to the website in 1998, which I don't really know how strong it was, and even saw a picture and read the results, you would even know this was basically a show that you had to see. And as you watch this, it just involves almost like, you peel back the thing of the onion, and then you get the core in the middle. It's almost like, you get that main thing. You can just like, I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, like, unless you really sit down and you watch this whole show, you're not really going to enjoy, the unveiling at the end, seeing how great this really was. Basically, for Survivor Series 1998, they went with the name Deadly Games. It was almost like it wasn't even a Survivor Series. It was almost like it was an In Your House, but then again, Survivor Series for a WWF tournament for the WWF Championship is a pretty cool thing, because you got to survive the tournament in order to make it all the way to the end, and at the end you're going to be crowned WWF Champion. For this one, they stacked the tournament with some really big main eventers. They had Kane, and they had Undertaker, who basically got like an Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 4 bye, basically saying they didn't have to have a first round match. I don't know if that was some sort of a deal with Vince McMahon. I'm really lost on the lineage of the Undertaker and Kane, especially involving Paul Bear, being this so close to when they had their match, or their series of matches and their feud, around WrestleMania 15. No, that would be WrestleMania 14. I apologize. This is on the way to WrestleMania 15. I was really surprised for when this match happened that Paul Bear came out with them. So I have no remembrance of how Paul Bear got back with The Undertaker, basically after trying to have Kane kill him during that feud. It's just one of those mysteries of wrestling. I got no clue. Maybe if you remember, just leave it down in the comments below, and we'll go from there. Basically, I can remember that basically this was Vince McMahon had stripped Stone Cold Steve Austin of the tournament, or of the championship. He didn't want him to be the champion of the WWF anymore. He had a match in order to crown a champion where he made Stone Cold Steve Austin the special guest referee, and it was Undertaker versus Kane. In that match, Stone Cold Steve Austin counted out Undertaker and Kane, double DQ, so he declared himself the winner. He declared himself the champion. Vince McMahon, who had said that he was going to fire Austin if he wasn't fair and just straight down the line, referee fired Stone Cold Steve Austin on the spot due to being re-signed by Shane McMahon, who didn't have any ownership of the WWE at the time, was basically a referee. I have no clue how this all played out, but that's what happened. Stone Cold got back in. He signed a 5-year contract, was receiving a contract shot, basically almost like a Money in the Bank that he was going to be able to cash in at any time. I can't remember if he cashed it in to get into this tournament, or if he was saving that for a later day, and that was another, sort of deal that was going to be worked out somewhere along the way. But this was a really, really fun show once it really, really got down to it. The first round basically was a lot of matches that, really when you look at it, if there was a YWC at the time, I'm sure they would have shit all over this. But if you were just sort of sitting this and watching this, the first round you're going to be scratching your head. Second round, you're even going to be scratching your head, but once you get down to the tournament final, it was really, really good stuff. A very funny opening to the show. Mankind makes his way down. Right now, he's sort of the son of Vince McMahon. He's sort of the guy that everybody thinks is Vince McMahon is sort of pushing to win this championship, to become the, I guess you can say, the corporate champion at this time. Mick Foley, Mankind is sort of done his hair, but at the same time, in Mankind fashion, it's pulled back into a ponytail, but he doesn't really have it right, and it's all sticking out the side. He's wearing a tuxedo, which he doesn't take off for the whole night. He's wrestling in a tux because he thinks this is his big night, that he's going to win it. And Vince McMahon has been declared that he's going to bring in a first round mystery opponent for Mankind. And as things of the Attitude Era and the Internet Era was getting off the way, ROH. Basically, Vince McMahon played in and was trolling everybody, saying that basically this was a superstar that debuted in 1990 in the WWF with a nearly impossible record to recreate. And this superstar left the WWF to head to WCW to try out and find greener pastures. And this was later to be revealed as Dwayne Gill, a jobber from WWF who did go off to WCW, who didn't find any success there. Basically had left that and basically went off to become a elementary school football coach. Mankind was able to beat Dwayne Gill in a matter of 30 seconds to show you how good they would be. Dwayne Gill would be able to go on and find some success being a member of the Job Squad, becoming lightweight champion as known as Gillberg, as it started to troll WCW and Goldberg at the time. I can't remember if once Goldberg came in, I seem to remember Goldberg actually getting his hands on Gillberg and getting some revenge on him. They brought it back for one more night, but I can't really remember. Al Snow had a match with Jeff Jarrett where he was able to get the win. Nothing really big there. Lots of these matches are very, very fast, very, very short. Stone Cold Steve Austin had a match against the Big Boss Man, the new hired free agent. Boss Man had left the WWF, being a big star. Went down to WCW as sort of that member of the NWO, sort of was his own guy. Never really found a whole bunch of success, but once he came back to WWF, was almost treated like a surefire main eventer. The guy that Vince McMahon had hired to take out Stone Cold Steve Austin. He wasn't wearing the old school cop uniform. He was almost dressed like a SWAT guy. Give him a really cool new look. Didn't really play off how old the guy was. And he was a threat. He was involved with the corporation for a good long time. He had a good long heel run there. And he was always treated like $1 million. Stone Cold got the win after Big Boss Man took him out on the outside, and Big Boss Man took the DQ by just beating up on Stone Cold Steve Austin, trying to weaken him with the nightsticks, basically thinking that if they took the DQ in this match, somebody would beat Austin in the second round. From there, that would backfire when X-Pac and Steve Regal, they had a really good match. I was trying to figure out what the storyline was behind that. They actually gave these guys some sort of a storyline going into the tournament, why they didn't like each other so much. Steven Regal was, of course, the man's man at this time, coming in and debuting from WCW. They fought to their match to a double countout. They basically didn't care about the championship. They just wanted to beat each other up on the outside. McMahon had the Stooges run down to ringside, trying to get them to restart the match. Basically, X-Pac and Regal chased each other away from ringside, and the Stooges weren't able to restart this match. This gave Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though he was beat up by the Big Boss Man, a bye into the next round where he wouldn't have anybody to fight. Ken Shamrock beat Goldust using the ankle lock submission, and they were putting over the fact that basically because of the ankle lock submission, he was going to be a surefire favorite in order to move on in this tournament and more than likely end up winning the whole thing. I think Shamrock was Intercontinental Champion at this time. Then we go on to The Rock, who had a match against Triple H. Triple H's music came out, and basically, Jim Ross was going on about that Triple H just had major knee surgery, and there's no way in the world he was going to be able to compete, even if it was for the WWF Championship. Briscoe and Patterson, the Stooges, came out yet once again to the DX, doing their best DX impression with the crotch chops, spitting the water, basically saying that they had sent tickets to Triple H, and he had no show to the show, and he was going to receive a major fine. But at the last second, Mr. McMahon was able to find himself a new opponent for The Rock, which was the Big Boss Man, coming out to get a second chance in the tournament, basically being put in against The Rock. He came running down. The second he got into the ring, the bell rang, and he was rolled up for a pin on his slide into the ring. The Rock beat Boss Man in 3 seconds. Moving on from there into the second round, Undertaker and Kane had a few matches in the WWF at this time. The WrestleMania match, the Fire Around the Ring match. This was a good match. 7 minutes, but it was WrestleMania quality. I thought that it was really good. Undertaker was able to defeat Kane, and he was able to move on to the next match. Mankind fought his good friend Al Snow in a short match where he was able to get the win, moving on to the tournament. And then a really great match, The Rock against Ken Shamrock. There's not a lot said about the Ken Shamrock, The Rock, and Mankind rivalry that went down to see who was going to be the #1 contender around this time. And they really played off that to have a really, really good match. In the end, The Rock was able to beat Ken Shamrock, and he was able to move on. From there, they gave the guys some rest since he would have so many matches with the first and the second round over. We saw Sable defeat Jacqueline not really be anything big here. Sable was, trying to get revenge on Mark Mero. I can't remember if Sable won the women's championship or not, but the match doesn't really matter in the long run. From there we go to Mankind having a match against Stone Cold Steve Austin. In this match was the major screw job of basically Stone Cold Steve Austin having Mankind beat twice in this match. On the second time, Stone Cold Steve Austin would be trying to get the pinfall. Shane McMahon came, doing the ref slide in, much like Charles Robinson, trying to get the 1, 2, 3. Shane McMahon counted 1, counted 2, and then just flipped off Stone Cold Steve Austin, shot him the double bird. Basically, that was Shane's one thing to make him think that he was going to be cool. He just kept on flipping off Austin, basically, as Mankind was able to slip around and get the victory, basically using, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, and everybody that was out there used against him. From there, Stone Cold Steve Austin knew that he was screwed and basically started to chase off as the corporation guys all ran away. They jumped into a car. And Stone Cold Steve Austin chased them away. That would be the major thing, thinking that Stone Cold Steve Austin had left the arena, chasing down all of the Stooges, and basically it was revealed that the Stooges really hadn't left. They looked like they had jumped into a car, but basically they had made Stone Cold Steve Austin go search the town trying to find him, so they bought time without Stone Cold Steve Austin at the show, and now they had basically the Devil's Playground to, crown whatever champion they wanted to, and Stone Cold Steve Austin wouldn't be involved, and he was out of the tournament. From here, we went to The Rock going up against The Undertaker. They had a good short match before Kane made his way down to the ring, interfering with this. Some people thought that Kane was coming down to rejoin the Brothers of Destruction with him and Undertaker trying to team up on Rock, but Kane turned on The Undertaker, giving him the big kick to the mouth, which basically made Kane property of the corporation at this time. Kane was able to make it where Rock pinned Taker, moving on to the finals, which is set up as Mankind versus Rock. Of course, everybody knows this is the big rivalry that would go on, and this would be one of the first singles matches that they had to crown the champion. Nothing really big here from a triple threat match for the WWF Championship. The New Age Outlaws were able to beat D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry from the Nation of Domination and the Headbangers. Really weird to see this triple threat match with 3 teams in there at once. It was almost like a match was going on while one guy watched, and they were able to tag in and out. It wasn't like, that 2 teams were in and they had another team out there on the outside, and they were tagging in and out like a lot of other ones. It was kind of weird. And then in the Screwjob finish, which was The Rock against Mankind, basically to play off what happened the year before the Screwjob with the Montreal Screwjob, I guess you can say, Bret Hart against Shawn Michaels. The Rock, for no apparent reason, I think this was the first time that he had ever used the sharpshooter in his career, put the sharpshooter on Mankind. Vince McMahon, who was out at ringside, called and rang the bell, basically declaring The Rock the winner. Mankind, who everybody thought was basically the guy on the outside, got beat up for his troubles by The Rock. The Rock had joined the corporation. He was the new corporate champion, and it was on from there. Stone Cold Steve Austin came running down, was attacked by The Rock once he slid into the ring, but Stone Cold was able to fight off The Rock before the corporate goons all ran off with the belt, which left Mankind, who woke up from his beating. Stone Cold Steve Austin gave him the stunner. Boom! And that's how the pay-per-view ended, basically setting you up and getting that flavor in your mouth. The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin was going to happen. They were going to make us wait for a while. From here, they would make us wait all the way until Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin had their own feud, basically being number 1 and 2 in the Royal Rumble. Vince McMahon would win the Rumble. They would go on at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, having a cage match, one-on-one, which gave Stone Cold Steve Austin the title match against The Rock at WrestleMania 15. You can watch a WrestleMania rewind on that, but really, really good stuff. Really fun tournament that I always remember in my mind. One of those turns that just, like I said, you're watching this whole show, you don't really realize that The Rock is, getting an easy win in the first round by the boss man just running in and getting pinned. The corporate guy comes in and makes sure that he wins against The Undertaker, and then the boss rings the bell and gives The Rock the win for the championship. So awesome stuff here. WWE Network, free the month right now. You could be watching this if you are or if you aren't. I don't know why you're not. This is a great show. Peace out, everybody. 2 thumbs up.